Living on the water is the only life we know. Yo ho ho ho. It's time for the Bodie Show.
And here we are. We are here with Presley.
Hello.
Presley, who are you and where are we?
So, I'm Presley.
Nice to meet you.
We're at the Thousand Islands Boat Museum here in Gananoque, Ontario. Canada, yes. But I've been here for 2 years. I do a lot of our social media, but I go back and forth between here in the boathouse and as well up in our cafe as well.
Yeah. Okay. We are in a boathouse.
We are.
Yeah, we're going to set it very specifically.
Okay.
So could you tell us a bit about the boathouse? Even if it's not historical or structural or anything like that, but like, what do you think of the boathouse? What is it and what do you think of it?
What do I think of it? Oh, that's a lot of pressure. Well, I'm like a bit of a history nerd, so for future career, that's what I want to do.
Nice.
So just to be in this boathouse filled with history, antique boats, it's really special to me personally because it's like directly in the field of where I want to be.
Yeah.
When I first heard about the job listing a couple of years ago, I immediately jumped in on the option, and I got to learn a little bit about the boats, the boathouse itself. My bosses, they're lovely people. They created all this, built the boathouse from the ground up, and quite cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll describe the boathouse, the physical nature of the boathouse a bit. To call it a boathouse is a bit of an understatement.
There's a lot of concrete.
From the water, it looks like a really big event pavilion. It's a fixed pier structure that is almost completely open on the sides with a beautiful like multi-gabled roof. The interior is finished in like dark wood horizontal paneling. There are two big concrete piers down the middle of it. And when I say the middle of it, I'm going to say it's it could be a football field in dimension. If not, it's like a pretty big like soccer field size, like just really big. Gorgeous views, 180 plus degrees of the Thousand Islands from the Gananoque shore. And we're looking out at boat traffic going by. Something fun that you guys just learned about, which is there's a summer camp here.
There is, yeah.
Presley, will you tell us a bit about that?
So our summer camp, it runs for 3 weeks in the months from July to August. And we have 8 kids at a time and ages 7 to 13. They come here, they get to ride on our boats, get a trip to McDonald Island, one of the local islands here, spend a whole day there.
Is that a park island? Is that one of the park islands?
It is, yeah. So they have our camp counselors here, Marin and Avery. They're doing a fantastic job this year, and they planned everything out by themselves. So it's really all on them.
Yeah.
Good job, Marin and Avery.
Yeah.
Tell me something. I was chatting with Suzanne, and she was telling me that the people who run the boats, and you introduced us to one young man when we first got here, and I forgot his name already.
Parker. Yeah.
So he's the one who actually takes people out in the Garwood when they want to go for rides?
Exactly.
And how old is Parker?
Parker, he's in his second year of university this year.
So he's like
third, I believe.
22 or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Barely, yeah.
Interesting. Are there other captains?
So Parker's our main captain. We also have our boss, Bernie, who does a lot of rides on Little Toot, which is right behind us. Our
Little Toot, for the record,
it's adorable.
Is a tugboat with a steam whistle, probably a diesel engine. I'm not sure what runs the steam whistle. And it looks like a plywood stitch and glue. Oh, it might be steel, actually, a steel tugboat. I'm a little speechless because I think it's so cool.
It is really cool. Yeah, I was eyeing it up on the way.
We're dying right now because we're first of all, but we didn't completely set where we are because we're in the boathouse, but we're also on a boat.
We are on a boat. It's nice. It's a nice boat.
To call this a boathouse is an understatement. To call this a nice boat is like, what's more than an understatement? Like a really, 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 really
deep under?
Just deep underground understatement. So
they may find me on this boat like 3 weeks from now, actually, like stowed away in one of the cabinets.
That's planning on how to like move aboard. Presley, can you tell us about what we're sitting on and anything about it? Historical significance, design. You mentioned the designer, which I know the name, but I don't know any history of that. So lay it on us.
Yeah, for sure. So the boat we're on right now is called Washingtonian. It's a 1939 Trumpy yacht. So Trumpy yachts are very famous because the man who built them, John Trumpy, he immigrated here from Norway around like the 1900s. And he was very famous for building the Sequoia, which is the presidential yacht. So from the 1930s, from Franklin Roosevelt all the way to 77 with Jimmy Carter, they actually used a Trumpy yacht of like a similar model to this boat that we're on right now.
The Sequoia.
Yes, the Sequoia. For like pleasure, for business meetings, all of that. So it's quite cool. It's quite cool, yeah. And something else that's special about this, John Trumpy, he built over 400 vessels in his lifetime. This is a 240th, but it's only one of 20 that still remains operational after World War II. So
you could drive this around.
Me personally, no, but yes.
One could drive this around.
One could drive this around.
Your captain who's in university drive it around?
I'm not sure if he'll be present with that or not.
Okay.
This is one of 2 boats in our collection that we don't actually own, but is on loan to us.
Oh, wow. Who's it on loan from?
So his name is actually right up there on our little panel.
Yeah,
That's
I'm gonna
all right.
I'm gonna go out and look.
Okay. But his name is Joe Powell. He's
Joe Powell.
Yeah, Joe Powell, you're familiar.
Yeah, he has some of the nicest restaurants in the Thousand Islands.
Right.
Yep.
But yeah, so he gave a lot to the museum, and this is his boat. It stays here during the summertime. Sometimes he'll come in, take it out, but then it goes back to him during the winter time.
What a cool guy.
He is, yeah.
That's a great thing to do with a significant boat is share
He
it.
also owns the Ivy.
He owns the Ivy.
And he also owns Riva.
He owns Riva.
Yeah.
It was just recommended to me today to go to one or both soon.
Yeah. I mean, we should go to them all the time. They're
All right.
delicious. But yeah, so should we talk about what we're looking at here? I mean, it's a little overwhelming. It's so delightful.
Yeah. All right. A Trumpy, I want to say it's like a cruiser, but also a day boat. So you can totally overnight on this thing and go long distances. At the same time, it's built for hanging out. So we're sitting on the aft fan deck. I don't know exactly what the right term would be, but we're under a roofed enclosure. Overhead are curved beams that are painted white, except for the very bottoms of them, which are varnished. So there's a really nice visual texture to it. And there are like some cool chromed dome lights. It's probably about the size of, I don't know, like a small living room in an apartment or a small house. At the back of this really cool outdoor living room is a port to starboard width. What color is that?
Blue. That's like a nice navy blue.
I'm like pretty colorblind. So there's a nice navy blue couch. The lovely Melissa, the hot admin, is lounging and reading. There's some nautical cushions. And then there's a close to 360 view out the back of this thing. It's got nice, really well made sliding glass windows that are in tracks. The tracks are actually translucent plexiglass. So like even the tracks that the windows are riding in, like let light come through, which is just a pretty cool detail that I just noticed. Floor is caulked teak. There are black stripes in between the boards and really big round plugs covering all the screw holes in the teak. And then there's a door, like a normal house size door, into almost the equivalent space. Actually, it is the equivalent space interior. So not pilot house, but like, we're just the chilling out in living room space. There's a freaking banister around the stairway down below.
And down below is amazing. There's like the main bedroom. Like I almost didn't leave. And then there's like then there's like a bathroom, and then there's 2 other rooms, and they have both have 2 single beds. So big bed here, and then 2 rooms that each have 2 beds.
I can't wait.
5 beds.
We might have to
Just in this part.
in this part. We might have to record a little walkthrough and share it on Bodhi Show's social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Just saying.
So I think we talked about the Sequoia on one of our earliest shows because it was submitted as a Boat of the Week contestant.
I feel like it had a different name.
Yeah, it's been renamed over the years.
But it was Kennedy's presidential yacht we were talking about. And it was called, give me a minute, I'll think of it.
Oh, yeah?
You know, I'm good like that.
You can remember stuff.
I believe he had his own as well. So it could have been
maybe
that
that's
one,
what,
yeah.
maybe it was his other one.
Yeah.
That's how it's how it is when you're a president, I guess.
Right.
You know,
Which presidential yacht should I take today?
so I'm going to cut back to the camp of 8 kids who basically get to come and play at the boat museum, in the boathouse. So they're out, I don't know, 30, 40 yards off the dock on paddleboards, just going at it. And your captain, what was his name again? I'm sorry. Parker's out there lifeguarding from a little inflatable. Everybody's just having a good time in and on the river. And it's, can I come to camp Can you could probably charge a lot of money
For adult camp.
for adult camp. Right? No joke. Like to go for rides in these boats and to hang out in this boathouse and go
for
swimming.
sure.
I mean, I do not know how to use a paddleboard.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I should probably come to this camp.
Yeah. I need a new wallet and keychain. Maybe there's some crafting.
Oh, yeah. You can make one out of
It
like some of
is.
those
There's
plastic
crafting?
strips. Yeah.
You can make your own paddle as well.
Oh,
I need a paddle. Don't
Yeah.
have enough paddles.
Never enough.
So there's
paddles.
this suggestion to Suzanne and Presley
Yeah.
and the entire
Suzanne-
staff here.
Suzanne and Bernie, we need adult camp, please.
Yeah. So just as background, you know folks who
Yeah, I
are
know.
involved in this
I
place.
know Suzanne and Bernie. I've known them for years, not well enough, but well enough to know how awesome they are,
Right.
and what a great job they've done with this whole organization. And I've never been here. Like I've never come over, never
Yeah.
set foot in
Really?
this lovely institution ever before. Yeah, so it's great to be here.
You make quite an entrance. We're going to do a podcast on the Trumpiat.
I made an entrance. Like you mean when I was like dying of heat stroke and begging to go in the water?
You brought it up. I wasn't going to bring it up.
It's so nice to meet you. I'm about to die.
Yeah.
Can I please get in the
Presley met Steph at it's kind of like Steph doesn't have a lot of low points, but when she hits them, it's often because it's too hot for her.
Certainly.
She's dehydrated. She doesn't drink water. You asked for water, and then you said it tastes. How do you think?
Amazing. It tasted so good. It was like the first time I've had any water in like 7 weeks. But I'll tell you, when you really want water, it does taste amazing. It was like
Yeah.
better than wine. It was incredible.
So maybe that's the secret, right? You just don't drink water, and then when you do taste it, it's amazing.
You really appreciate it.
All right,
Yeah,
good.
I really appreciated that water.
Yeah.
It was delightful.
Well, we've set this pretty well. This Trumpy yacht is just fantastic in this boathouse, sitting in an historic location where 1930, you said?
1939.
39, right?
Yeah.
Where,
The thing I would add to your description is that inside this boathouse, it's all slip, slip, slip.
yeah, it's all slip. So, meaning there isn't a single spot inside this giant football field sized boathouse where you couldn't tie up a boat.
Yeah, it's like instead of being a big building on the ground that you walk into and you see boats that are on blocks or whatever, and
Yeah.
you look at those boats, there's a lot of boats in the water here.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of water in the boathouse.
Yeah.
And there's probably more buildings maybe that do have boats that are not in the water. Yeah, am I
Yes.
just guessing?
Yeah.
So we haven't seen that part yet, but for right now, we are in a place that has a lot of boat slips inside this big building. It's very cool.
Presley was sharing that you shared that you work at the Playhouse next
I
door.
do, yeah.
And then you
Nice.
let slip that it used to be a canoe and kayak club.
It did, yeah.
Will you walk us through the history of that end of the Playhouse, and then what's progressed with the boat museum from there?
For sure. I don't know, like, too much in detail.
Whatever you think is interesting
but-
about it.
Yeah, sure. So yes, I work at the Playhouse, and during the 1900s to like 1960s, 70s, it was the Gananoque Kayaking and Canoe Club. And what's really cool about it is during the Berlin Olympics, actually, out of the 13 or so athletes that went, 9 of them were from here in Gananoque. So
That's
we
awesome.
were represented at the Berlin Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
Wow.
very cool.
Uh-huh.
9 of the
so-
13 of all the Olympians, or just the canoe and
Of
kayakers?
the, like, rowing.
Rowing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
And so yeah, now our cafe, which is just up the hill here, it has like all of their journals, some of their Olympic jackets as well. So it's quite cool to see. You can read all about like their firsthand experiences, because we all know what was going on at the time of the
Yeah.
Berlin Olympics. So to see it from their point of view and to read it, it's again from a history person, it's quite interesting.
Tell
Yeah.
me where do you go to school and how did you get interested in history? Like what brought you into that
Yeah.
topic? Like what made you fall in love with that?
Right. I go to school here in Gananoque at Gananoque Secondary School.
Okay.
I'm going to be a senior this year, so
You are
nervous-
very.
nervous for
I had
that.
you.
I thought
had
you were in college.
Yeah, I had you in
Really?
college.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're very mature. You make a lot of good eye contact.
Yeah.
And
Sophisticated, yeah.
Sophisticated. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
But yeah, so I took a grade 10 history class, and I was kind of just surrounded by Canadian history, which I felt kind of cool. But I've always had an interest from reading the Percy Jackson books and Greek gods
Yeah.
and myths and everything. So in last year, I had the opportunity to take like an ancient civilizations class to learn all about that. And that's kind of where like my interest sparked even more. So, I learned all about like ancient Rome, ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, everything of the sort. And now like I really want to I want to go into classical studies at York University, hopefully in Toronto, to become like a historical archaeologist, which, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, so that those experiences, your developing interest in history must have shed some new light on where you were working, right? Like this historic waterfront.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, there's a Canadian island which is only supposed to be accessed by canoe and kayak, like a park island. Sugar?
It's actually not a park island. It's owned by the American Canoe Association.
Okay.
And it's called Sugar Island.
Right.
And it's around here somewhere. I'll study my placemat for it while you guys.
We're
chit-chatting.
We're sitting at a nice teak table in the middle of this Trumpy outdoor living room, and there are some wonderful nautical chart printed placemats in front of us.
Yeah, so I'll just keep an eye out for Sugar Island but that's the one you're thinking about, right?
Yeah. And I'm putting together that there was a significant canoe and kayak club there, and then that island is close by.
Yes.
I'll bet there was a lot more of that kind of action around here back then. Also, just for listeners, the Berlin Olympics that Presley was describing, that a lot of people are getting much more familiar with those Olympics and the water sport athletes, because there's a film in the U.S. called Boys in the Boat, which was about the U.S. national men's 8 that trained in Pacific Northwest in Washington for those Olympics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's nice that you found something that's connected to your interest for summer job.
I know. Yeah. I'm lucky.
Yeah. I do love the Playhouse an awful lot too there. That's awesome. That's so great. It's a wonderful, if people haven't just jumped in your boat and come over to the Playhouse to see a play on the water, you definitely should. It's awesome. Yeah.
It's,
so what do you do there?
So I usher. So I just greet people, and then I get to sit in and watch every single show. So I was saying earlier that I saw Sound of Music last year about 20 times.
Oh, was that the right number, or was it slightly more than you needed?
Slightly more than I needed. I've never actually seen the movie before, and so I could quote the entire movie word by word.
So do you want to just go ahead and just give us the show right now?
No.
Putting me on the spot. Oh
you're trying to get that out of your head. Like if that takes up less space in your head, that's good. Let's not pull that up to
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't want to do it either.
So the Gann Playhouse, the Gananoque Playhouse, is waterfront. It's, as Presley said, it used to be a canoe and kayak club. I had no idea. And like when you're on the U.S. side of the Thousand Islands, you end up with this block. Oh, I like crossing over. I don't want, if I drive the crossing and rowing by boat, like how do I report in? It's worth figuring out and just nailing it down. And we're lucky to have a Nexus trusted traveler, basically enrollment office right next to us on Hill Island, and you can get your Nexus card, and that makes it like just a whole lot easier to go back and forth. And it's like the cheapest way to get a trusted traveler card that covers Canada and Mexico. It ends up being like $50 for 5 years or $80 for 5 years. So
we're wading into hot admin territory right now, but it is pretty boaty because it really does facilitate your back and forth cross country, if you will, travel, right?
Yep.
To go, which, as we've talked about on the Boaty Show many times,
we have.
The presence of Canada is an important part of our Thousand Islands experience.
Yeah.
Right? Like the fact that there's another country across the water makes it cooler to live here.
Yep, exactly. And
it just does.
And pulling across the border in your boat and landing and reporting in and enjoying what Gananoque has to offer, what Kingston has to offer. Can't say enough good things about it, and more people should do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen.
Like you just described the two restaurants, Riva and the Ivy.
Both water accessible, both delightful.
Right. You can pull up, report in by phone at the dock, and you're good. The Ivy's a reporting station.
Yep,
yeah,
it is.
It is. Yeah. But I wanted to say, Presley, you've actually performed in the Playhouse, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
And that's how you got your job there.
I did, yeah.
And because you got your job there, you ended up getting your job here, or like it was somehow linked?
So I got my job here first.
Oh, okay.
While I was doing the course at the Playhouse.
Yeah.
And then I was offered that, so I just do 2 nights a week there at the Playhouse, but it's a good experience. Yeah.
Nice. I'll share a story about the Playhouse that I told Presley earlier, and Steph was there for this. We brought our kids over to go to a show at the Playhouse.
That's right.
Probably 2010-ish.
Long time
20, yeah. Or like, I'm going to say 2010, maybe 2012. It was a performance of The Wind in the Willows, which is all about being on the river, on the water.
In it, with it, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the play was performed partly outside in the water and partly inside. There was a raft. There were a couple of docks and rafts floating, and the performers were mic'd up with waterproof mics, and they swam out from I don't know where and popped up on these rafts. Frog and Toad and Ratty performed a whole segment of The Wind in the Willows on the water, in the water, and then they swam away.
It was so good.
And then we all took the kids inside, and they finished the rest of the story inside.
Yeah, but it was like
so
almost
cool.
like it was almost like a little bit of guerrilla theater in a way, because it was like when nobody was like, you weren't in the show yet, but the show started and the kids were all like, "What's happening?" Remember that?
Yeah, we were sort of sitting outside waiting for things to happen, and all of a sudden, The Wind in the Willows kicked in, and it was there used to be a marina next to the Playhouse. It's condos now, and the marina was maybe closed, and this was a window in time when they could get some extra space. And I remember we were sort of sitting like maybe in the marina, and they were using the marina docks also. It was cool. It was really cool.
That was really cool. I'd forgotten all about that.
Yeah.
Great memory. Great job.
Came over by boat for that. You also, Presley, have been involved in some of the boat restoration work here, not necessarily hands-on, but maybe hands-on. I don't know. Would you tell us a little bit about like that? Like specifically, you pointed out a really cool little skiff that is part of Restoration Wednesdays.
Restoration Wednesday.
Which I follow on Instagram.
What's that?
Yeah.
There's this boat builder named Jack Millett, whose boathouse actually used to be right beside the present-day Playhouse. And we have one of his boats up there in our courtyard. It's a yellow G1 racing dinghy.
Oh,
circa
hello.
like 1937, 1938. But it's quite in rough shape at the moment. One of our volunteers, Catherine, she took it upon herself to restore it this summer. So she's been here every single Wednesday from 10 to 2, working hard on the 15-step restoration process. So right now she's on step 4 out of 15, which she's stripping like the varnish and the paint off of it to get it ready for like new paint and everything. But she already took all the hardware out, and I'm looking at it right now to try and refresh my mind. But
okay,
she's
we haven't been
very
up there.
hard at work. Yeah.
And on Restoration Wednesdays, Catherine's out there under a tent. The boat's on a rotisserie.
I did see that one time. Now that you say that, people should follow TI
Boat Museum.
TI Boat Museum. Follow that on Instagram, because I did see it there. I saw a reel about the rotisserie wooden boat or whatever it is.
Yeah,
rotisserie boat was the first time I'd ever seen that before.
Mostly rotisserie. You think of chicken when you think of rotisserie.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I think of.
This is boat rotisserie.
Almost universally think of chicken.
Yeah. The Canadian Border Patrol is going past.
Is that who that is?
They were eyeballing us because they watched us. They watched us coming over in our 1981 Cobalt 18 DV. This is a boat that's very special. It's new to us.
It's also strictly speaking, it is an antique.
It is an antique.
It belongs here. It really fits right in. Let me tell you.
It does. It's not wooden, but
no, it's not shiny.
Yeah, I'll bet there's a bunch of cigarette lighters on a lot of these boats here, except they're made out of wood. So maybe you didn't put cigarette lighters on your wooden boats. That's a good question. I don't know. Anyway,
I feel like this is listener input requested on this. Do you have wooden?
Yeah, well, we're going to look for cigarette lighters when we go walking around.
It does seem like a bad idea.
Yeah,
it does a little bit. Or like fire pits or
gas-powered wood boats and cigarette lighters. Anyway, the Cobalt has 3 cigarette lighters and 4 ashtrays in 18 feet of boat. It's from 1981, which is when everybody smoked a lot of cigarettes.
And how many cup holders does it have, Jeff?
I haven't counted them. There's a lot. They're all too small to hold anything that, like modern day beverages, don't fit in these cup holders.
But we like to say it's a boat for smoking and drinking.
Right? So we came across in the Cobalt, and the Canadian Border Patrol, the nice gentleman in that official boat,
eyeing us up.
Well, they eyeballed us because we were coming over from the U.S.
Do you think they could see all the cigarette lighters and the ashtrays?
but they're like,
why?
That's a 1981. That boat's made for smoking and drinking. These people are up to no good.
I bet that's why.
So then we tied up here and we did the right thing. We didn't get off the boat. We called the Canadian customs number and went through all of our reporting, and they went by like totally eyeballing us.
Yeah, they should.
As they should. Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that being who they look different to me. Like, I don't know. The boat, like
you
said.
You were overheating at the moment. You drove over.
I was focused on other things.
You
like
drove
not
over.
Dying.
Well, you drove over, and when you drove us over, you weren't necessarily focused on really anything.
Jeff is going to try to haze me about how I drove over here, and he's just wrong. He hasn't eaten today, so he's grumpy.
I had a banana.
You're clearly underfed, and like you were like micromanaging how I was driving.
Oh my God.
Okay, you tried not to micromanage. You just managed.
This long pause
happened?
will remain in the edit. This.
Are you going to read a cargo card? What's happening right now?
It's going to get dark. I'm not going to read a cargo card, but it's going to get dark.
Do you disagree? What did you want to say about how I was driving?
I'll just say that I was not micromanaging.
Okay.
I made one comment.
Did you have 15 things to say and you only said one?
I neither confirm nor deny that I had other comments to say. I did make one comment when we were driving over, and it was clear that the GAN Narrows weren't on your agenda.
It's true. I did miss the GAN Narrows entirely on the way here. I was just going to wrap around the backside of Grindstone for no reason and make the trip 14 times as long.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry. I get distracted by boats going by, and this is the wrong place to be if you want to stay focused, because there's the Canadian Border Patrol went by and sent us off on this tangent.
But I do.
Brought Presley with us. Sorry, Presley.
But in my defense, besides that one error, I think I did okay.
Yeah. That long pause shall remain in the edit.
I'm leaving it there as well.
Okay.
All right. Now I'm going to drive home and do a really bad job.
Oh God, no. One of the attributes of this place that I wanted to share and get your perspective on, Presley, is that there's no fence around it.
No.
I'm looking into town, across the boathouse, through the boathouse, opening the doors on the side of the boathouse, at a parking lot, at like public spaces. There's no fence. There's no ticket gate.
Yeah.
There's none of that.
Is it all open to the public?
So we're a nonprofit organization. So we're run by like some board members that come together to like, you know, make decisions about the boat museum itself. But we do say admission by donation. So if you wanted to give something, please do.
But it's optional.
Yeah, it's optional. Of course, like we suggest like $5 per person just because of what we all have to offer here, but completely optional.
That's so great.
So
Yeah. So that public access means there's public access to the waterfront. There's a huge floating dock out in front of this that looks almost like it's a breakwater to shield the museum. Mm-hmm. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah. Big steel pipe based dock. So there were people just chilling in some Adirondack chairs out there, and they may or may not have been museum visitors. Mm-hmm. Is that how it goes, that people will come and enjoy the waterfront?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And also I could see happening upon the place, walking into it, realizing what I was experiencing, and then being pretty excited to like put $5 in into the donation.
I love that. I think that's so nice. Just to let it be part of the flow of the town, the traffic, and the waterfront, because people always do want to get toward the waterfront if they can. Obviously, it's a beautiful place, and then letting this be on the way so that they kind of discover stuff on their way around, and, as opposed to it having to be a destination that you plan for and you pay for and all of that.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it sort of flows like the traffic between the museum and the town flows. Also because, and the tourists that come in here also flow because the Gananoque Boat Tours dock, or there might be more than one, but there's at least that one right there. There's this big long wharf where Gan Boat Tours, we're looking at the Thousand Islander 2. It has 3 decks, one lower, fully enclosed, one in the middle, partially enclosed, and one on top open. That's another cool way to come over. Like we did the Yacht Rock Boat Tour.
Yeah, that's the boat that the original commercial was filmed on.
The Thousand Islander. You want some history, Presley?
Sure.
And I would say it's not GAN Boat Tours anymore, is it? It's like City Cruises or something.
City Cruises.
Yeah.
Do they operate in multiple Canadian cities?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll geek a little bit. There's a boatyard with a railway nearby where actually I'm blanking on exactly where it is. I think it's around the corner toward the Municipal Museum. The Municipal Marina, but where these big steel boats can get hauled out of the water. Mm-hmm. That's kind of cool to check out. And there's lots of big parts of diesel motors arranged and arrayed about over there. So if you like that sort of stuff, you can pull in, tie up in the Municipal Marina, which has a bunch of transient docking, walk past that to the boat museum. And there's some ice cream for sale right over there, I believe, as there should be next to all boat tour docks. But back to the history. So once upon a time, there was a commercial for Labatt 50 that was filmed in the Thousand Islands. It was filmed in 1970. What?
72.
72?
1972. Yeah. So Labatt decided to do a commercial for this one beer called Labatt 50, and they did it here in the Thousand Islands on that boat.
Really?
It's quite delightful. Yeah. There's lots of very like sharp, pointy colors and very long flowing hair.
Yeah.
And there's like
Bangs.
band, lots of white and like high rise jeans and belts, and it's quite delightful. We'll send you a link.
Okay.
We'll send you a link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate
And
it.
Stephanie loves this commercial so much that this is for Presley's information. Stephanie works for River Hospital. So it's a critical access hospital on the U.S. side
In
Okay.
Alex Bay.
in Alexandria Bay.
Okay.
And you work as the development director. And so Stephanie recreated the commercial as a fundraising cruise for River Hospital. And there's another video taken in 2014 or something of people basically recreating the commercial as part of a fundraising cruise.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
Oh my goodness is right. Yeah. So now it's an annual fundraising cruise. So
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So now every time I see this actual boat, it just makes me really happy because I know that's where it all started.
Yeah, brings back the memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Can't make this stuff up. When life is something, when you can't make it up, you're doing it right. Right? So yeah, open access. You can walk in and donate. There's a boat shop here too, right?
A boat shop?
Like a boat building operation. You said you also part of your job is to cover and document the boat building shop or the boat shop.
Oh, like the boat shop cafe.
Oh, okay, the cafe.
Yeah, the cafe. So
Tell us about that.
So that's our kayaking and canoe exhibit up there. So that's kind of like when people walk in and ask about the Thousand Islands Boat Museum, that's where they're greeted, and then they get sent down here. But yeah, we're just good cup of coffee, some pastries from a local cafe here, Panache.
Nice.
A good outside seating there, water view.
Yeah. I might be thinking of that place as where I got ice cream or a bite when I came over here one time. One of the times I came over here.
You've been here before?
I have.
Oh.
It was, I want to say, earlier in the evolution of the museum, and I think the boathouse had been built, but the collection either wasn't out or wasn't as significant as it is now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's changed a lot over the last few years, right?
Yeah,
You guys
yeah.
have really been growing in the last 5 years, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yep.
Yeah. What are some of the reactions that people have when they come here and check stuff out?
So a lot of people are amazed because, they're familiar with boats, of course, but they don't really know, the history behind boats. And are these panels on the walls that surround the boat museum tell you all about, the evolution throughout the Thousand Islands region, starting from birch bark canoes all the way from motor cruisers to ice boats. So to learn about that for most people is quite interesting. And just to see the boats themselves, we do actually do tours on Washingtonian here and Windswept, and that's like a highlight for most people who do come to the boat museum.
Is Windswept this one right here, or is it
Yes.
the one further over?
Windswept is the one right here.
Right here, okay.
Yes.
Windswept is
Hot.
hot.
And Windswept, something about Windswept that's quite cool is that was actually built for the co-founder of Canadian Tire.
Nice.
Get
Yeah,
out.
yeah. So
So some of our audience may not be as excited about Canadian Tire as I am.
Because when you're wrong, you're wrong.
Yeah. Would
Canadian
you tell
Tire
us
is the
about Canadian
best.
Tire as a Canadian?
Canadian Tire is like the place for everything here in Canada. You can get bikes, you can get yard supplies,
Oh yeah,
paints.
it's so true.
Everything. Sweaters.
Shoes,
Home
ice
decor.
skates. Shout out to Nicole Listeman, who's her favorite store in the entire world. A lot of our friends that live on the U.S. side know about Canadian Tire, and they're like legit, like coming over here all the time
To go to
get
Canadian Tire.
Yes,
Yes,
for that
lots of
So-
good deals.
Yeah,
I'm
good
going to
deals.
say Canadian Tire, Tim Hortons, and Roots Canada are pretty emblematic in terms of like brands and retail. What are some others that I don't know about?
Probably like the Hudson's Bay Company would be like major.
Of course.
Yeah.
Great point.
Beaver Tails.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, nobody knows what beaver tails are in the U.S.
Tell us what a beaver tail is.
Beaver Tails. Oh my goodness. So Beaver Tails, they don't sound.
They
They
right?
kind of sound really gross, but they're basically just essentially a pastry with a whole bunch of toppings on them. My favorite is brown sugar, cinnamon, and lemon.
The lemon makes it. Me too. My
Yes.
favorite beaver tail. It's fried dough, which like every culture fries dough, which is friggin' awesome. It's true. Look it up.
It's never been said before.
No.
But you're not wrong.
And in Canada, you probably
call it a beaver tail.
A beaver tail.
Of course you do. I know. I have had this conversation with a ton of Americans that don't know what it is. And you're just like, how do you not know this stuff? Come on, you get your shit together. It's right there.
So, what's your favorite time of year to have beaver tail?
Definitely during the winter time.
It's a winter thing.
It is. Tell us about. So you live in Gananoque?
Yes.
Tell us about Gan in the winter and the river in the winter, just from your perspective.
From Gan in the winter to Gan in the summer, it's quite a big difference. Mostly everybody, it's just locals here in the wintertime. So like we're the boat museum, we are closed in the wintertime, like most establishments down here. The water used to freeze over quite heavily actually, but in recent years it hasn't as much. So some people still go out on their boats, can access, their islands and whatnot. But I personally love it a lot more during the winter in this town. It's just because it's so peaceful and put up all the lights everywhere. So just being down the streets and
charming.
Feels like magic.
Yeah.
So you like the quiet, and then do you get excited when everyone shows up, or do you get a little like anxious and unpsyched when everyone shows up in the spring?
When everyone shows up, it's like the point where I know that school's almost coming to an end.
Great point.
So for me, it's
got
quite nice.
Positive association there.
Good time.
You're about to like go to your cool summer job at the boat museum.
Yeah.
And summer's so short, right? You're like, well, here everyone comes, right? But then everyone goes like pretty quickly. Really.
Exactly. Yeah.
I thought for a minute we weren't necessarily talking about Presley with that question.
Did you think I was asking a question that I really wanted to answer myself?
Well, just like you something you're pondering yourself, like everybody shows up.
Yeah. No, I'm curious about it because I grew up here as a summer person, and then I became a year-round person when I was in my 20s. So I've had both of those different experiences.
Yeah.
And so it's something I'm always curious about is people's experience of that sort of cultural season, the way it changes culturally from season to season, not just the weather, but also the humans change a lot around here.
Yes,
right?
Definitely. Yeah.
There's like a great sign. We'll try and take a picture of it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Shallow water and thin ice, something like that.
No, it's thin ice and deep water.
Thin ice and deep water.
I saw that and I was like, that's a great point.
Yeah. That's what it's not even worth putting up a sign unless you have those two.
Exactly.
Those two like happening at the same time.
Specific components happening, two great things together. Yeah. Exactly.
I want to just come back around to your point about people reacting. So when you look at the boathouse on one side, the landward side, sort of at one end, there's a birch canoe hanging from the ceiling. And it's clear that that's the like start of the boats.
And that birch bark canoe is actually built in our cafe from like 100-year-old molds.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple years ago, a man came in and, it was all set up in our cafe and he had the community come in and help him so people could actually hands-on experience there.
Get a cup of coffee and build a birch bark canoe on 100-year-old molds.
Exactly.
That's really nice community engagement and participation in history. And so it goes from birch bark canoe to Voyager canoe. And then you're actually looking at some of these boats along the way. And St. Lawrence skiff, which that's about the earliest boat that got built on the U.S. side, the St. Lawrence skiff, and probably was just copied from over here. That wasn't part of like War of 1812 madness. We probably shouldn't bring that up.
We can't really talk about that with Canadians.
No.
It doesn't go well.
We're sorry.
Especially a history major.
Yeah.
We're all just going to agree to disagree.
These like informational exhibits show you the evolution across time in the boathouse with examples as you go along. I don't know that there's an ice boat out here though.
No.
Because the last one, it's not like necessarily the most recent, but there's an ice boat exhibit, which is on the U.S. side. Not a lot of ice boating happened over there.
Do you mean the one with the sail?
Yeah. So not the one with
the alligator propeller,
the airplane engine that sucks ice chips past your face.
Yeah, we've talked about that on the airboat, right?
Yeah.
I get confused. Airboat, ice boat, yeah. But the ice boats are the ones we're talking about.
Sailing ice boats.
I don't really know which one's sketchier, to be honest. I mean, those ice boat, sailboat things are so sketchy.
No, they're not.
They are.
They're not going to suck you into a blender.
Okay, but they are balsa wood underscored by 3 blades.
Yeah, but if you fall off,
an enormous sail.
If you fall off,
ice.
If you fall off, you just slide across the ice.
No, you hit your head and you die.
What about the worst case scenario?
I'm just saying, you go really fast.
I've been ice boating on Scroon Lake, where the cobalt came from.
You do all kinds of terrible things,
and it was friggin' awesome. It was fast.
I'm not saying it's not awesome. I'm saying
you're 3 inches off the ice, but also means that you don't if you fall 3 inches and you're on ice, so you're not on pavement.
Is this our first fight?
No, we've had fights before. I've just edited them out. No, I haven't edited them out. I think I left them in.
I think ice boating is delightful and also sketchy.
So I'm going to assert a theory, Presley, and you help me confirm or just comment on it, right? So in Canada, the St. Lawrence River coast it's like the South, and it's a big stretch of waterfront that people can go enjoy from Toronto, from Ontario, from Montreal, so major metropolitan areas. In the U.S., the St. Lawrence River waterfront, even the Lake Ontario waterfront, is the hinterlands. Like, it's not close to anything.
Okay.
Our population bases are way smaller, right?
Yeah,
Like what you're saying, there's fewer
in proximity to the Thousand Islands and the river.
Right.
So this has been a tourist destination for a lot longer in a lot of ways, or at least a recreation and outdoor recreation destination for longer. Because I've been following the museum's social media, like the Boat Builders of the Thousand Islands series, which you produce.
Yes.
Yes. And there are a lot of local boat builders on record who built boats that were optimized for the local conditions at the time, be it for fishing, for waterfowl hunting, for getting back and forth to cottages on the islands, that sort of thing. And on the U.S. side, not as much. There was a little bit of that, but not nearly as much. So I think the history here in terms of waterfront history is just there's more of it. Anyway, I'm basically stating my own conclusion and asking you to comment. So what do you think of that? Like, do people come here looking for, like, do they come here like people in the U.S. go to the beaches in New Jersey and, that kind of thing?
I don't know too much about that, but I know, like, a lot of people from, like, they see the boat museum in Clayton.
Yeah.
And then they'll, like, hear talk about here, and then they'll come over here from there. And then they'll make it, like, a regular thing. So we have people who, come maybe twice a summer or something like that. So they just keep on coming back because they love it here so much.
Do a lot of Canadians come here from Toronto and Ottawa, that sort of thing? Like, come here to be on the water?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you guys take people out. You have a boat down there that you take people out for rides in, right? Yeah.
So we have
Garwood.
two river ride boats. We have Little Toot,
yep,
which we do take people out on, and then the 1989 Garwood back there. So that
1989?
1989, yeah.
Okay.
But it was based off of models from, like, earlier years.
Yeah.
But it's just
hot.
Was it built here?
No, it wasn't built here.
Okay.
That's one of the boats that wasn't built in the Thousand Islands region.
I think that hearing about people building a birch bark canoe on 100-year-old molds in a cafe while getting a cup of coffee, understanding that, a member of the community who is successful and has a lot of boats leaves his here so that the general public can enjoy it, and that in part what we're doing in recording the show here, seeing just how sweet it is for these kids to be camping at the boat museum and basically
focus on, like, educational aspects here too.
Yeah.
Like, we have two boats in here. There were actually, one was restored by local high school students,
and
then the second one was actually built from scratch from the local high school students. So
nice.
Yeah, we do lots of like events here. Like, we did Kids and Cops, which was a fishing event here just last Sunday, which was quite
Tell
cool.
me more. What is Kids and Cops?
Yeah, so it's like kids and their families can come out, and for a couple hours they get to fish on our breakwater here, and the cops will come help them out. They do their own thing up in the Joel Stone Park. So it's really lots of people enjoy it.
So basically, so you've got your law enforcement is showing up just to help with get the fish off the hooks, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Sweet, I love it.
Make
That's
it a good
amazing.
day. Yeah.
Kids and Cops is a great name.
That's a cool event. I mean, community policing and community engaged policing is a big deal, so that you end up with relationships that are not adversarial but are built on, like, some shared experience and that kind of thing.
I could not in my mind figure out what Kids and Cops was. I was like, what happens there? I don't know. But there you have it. They're just helping with the fish.
Yep.
I love it. That's
awesome.
Beautiful.
We are going to pick a boat of the week together. Okay.
Is it this coming towards us right now? It's not part of the fleet, but it is the rib that we saw on the way over.
No, rigid hull inflatable. No, it's not going to be that.
It's fancy. I don't really love it, though. I don't love the way it looks, but I like the cocktail table on it.
sleek. Check out that vessel, baby, isn't she sweet? It's the boat of the week, the boat of the week. Ooh, how I love me, the boat of the week. Da 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 da. Hey, yeah, let's check out the boat of the week.
I'm going to sit back and let this happen. So I'm going to ask Presley and Steph to nominate boats of the week that I will comment on. The scope of boats to be nominated are museum boats that we can see from where we're sitting.
Well, I mean, the one we're sitting on has my attention, seeing as I'm going to be stowing away on it for the next week or so.
Okay, so the Washingtonian.
Washingtonian, Missy and I took a little peek around, and we were so excited.
A self-guided tour.
We did a self-guided
tour.
We were really into it. Joe Powell's going to be surprised when I pop out of like a cupboard sometime next week.
Joe Powell's like, yeah, I thought I'd take her out, for lunch. And,
I mean, like,
Stephanie!
Surprise! Don't mind me.
All right.
It's really nice. Oh.
Well, then, what's another boat of the week? We have to compete.
Well, I'd also like to nominate Little Toot.
Okay.
We talked about that a little bit. I mean, you did a good job explaining what it is. It's like a little tugboat,
Yep.
and we don't know what it's made of. At least I don't.
It's either stitch and glue plywood or steel. I'm going to go with steel. Looks like welded steel.
I feel like this is a little challenging having to do this like sitting in one place, but
Yeah.
I'm trying. I'm doing
We've
my
got some.
best.
We have some microphone cables.
Doing my best.
Oh, it's
'Cause I'm
blue
also-
with white accents.
Yeah, it's my
Teak rub
favorite
rail,
thing.
not rope.
It's really cute. I wonder if it goes really slowly.
I think it goes medium.
Medium?
Yeah.
Presley confirms medium.
It seems toy-like.
Yeah.
Is it like a real boat, do you think? Or was it made to be just sort of like pleasure-y, not real?
Is there any history of it? Do you know where it came from, how it got here?
I know that it was owned by there's a sailboat of the region called Fair Jean.
Oh, yes.
We
Yeah.
talked about Fair Jean
Fair
last
Jean.
week.
Oh, yeah?
Fair Jean almost won Boat of the Week last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they had it in their possession for a while because they do like a summer camp.
Yeah.
So I think their plan was to use it for something on there. They didn't end up using it quite as often as they would have liked, so they donated it to the museum, and now it's in our possession. We do rides on it. Kind of got fixed up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the majority of what I know from.
I think it's a real boat. It's a working.
I really
it's
like
a working
it.
boat.
I
Yeah.
really like it.
So Fair Jean has a youth sailing training program and also invades Alexandria Bay with cannons.
Do you know this?
No.
It's true. I love that you don't know this too. This is amazing because like we live 10 miles
She knows
apart.
Fair Jean the boat.
But she knows it as like it's kind of a bipolar boat in a way.
Oh.
Like it's like these
Yeah,
two
yeah.
personalities where like in half of the world like it teaches young children how to sail and it's a very
Yeah.
upstanding part of the community. And then once a year it shows up in Alexandria Bay for the pirate invasion and blows off like cannons and
Like a
the-
lot of cannon fire. We have video.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then like there's like this big simulated like fight.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
People
it was fighting-
disembark from the Fair Jean and maraud into town and battle people in the town square.
Yeah, it's true. It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. During Pirate Week and a half. It's actually Pirate Weekend, but we call it Pirate Week and a half.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, it's right over there. You could probably hear the cannons sometimes. So I'm gonna ask. I'm not nominating anything, but I'm gonna ask, please, that you nominate Windswept 3 from
Well,
Toronto.
I don't know. I mean, okay, nominated. It's delightful, but I can't quite see a lot of it. But you know what else I can't see is the one that's right behind it because I really like that one.
Oh, Friendship.
Friendship is
Yes.
hot.
So Friendship is the second boat that is actually on loan to the museum. So we don't own it, but it's owned by our museum manager, Rebecca. So she'll come in and take it in and out throughout the season.
I really like that one a lot. Missy and I were eyeing it up. It has an aft deck, shall we say, with
Stephanie just gave me like this little jaunty look as if she meant something different than aft deck.
No, I'm just using some terminology, which I don't usually do. So
Hey!
I'm like kind of like giving you a hard time and kind of giving you credit at the same time. It's like, as much as I show up for these and
Stephanie's
don't know
been boating since before she can remember, but
but I don't use terminology. Like I'm
you
not.
don't know it because you didn't grow up with people who cared about terminology.
Right. Yeah, right. So I'm like, I'm just like I don't use the terminology. It's not my cup of tea. But you can't talk about this stuff and not
What is
learn it.
aft deck boaty for?
The back.
Okay.
Porch on the back of the boat.
So can you? What kind of boat is it? The one you were just friendship.
Friendship.
So that's a Chris Craft.
Okay, cool.
Did you see it on the way in?
No, I was stressing about the fact that I forgot the SD card
And you forgot to eat lunch.
and I forgot to eat lunch. Yeah.
But besides that, you're doing
Yeah.
great.
What's the deal with Windswept?
Windswept? Oh yeah, we're going back to Windswept. Okay.
Like, what's the deal? Like,
Any history? Like, what do we know about it?
like the major history is just the the co-founder of Canadian Tire. That's what we tell most
Oh,
people.
we just covered that already.
Yes.
I haven't
Yeah.
eaten, so my blood sugar's low. All right. Sorry.
I see a porthole.
Yeah.
I bet there's two.
All
At
right.
least two.
So I'm going
Maybe
to sit
more.
back. Presley and Steph, you are going to pick boat of the week.
Boat of the week.
Okay, so just to be clear, do you take people out in Little Toot?
Yes.
You don't take people out in Windswept?
No.
You
but we
don't
do-
take people out in friendly friendship.
We do onboard tours on Windswept, but
Onboard tours. We can
Yeah.
walk around that if we want to.
yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know. What about? I don't think we need the Garwood to be involved. I don't know that we need that one. I saw another one though. I should have taken some notes on the way in. I guess out of those three, I'm gonna vote for Little Toot because it takes people out.
Little too because it takes people out.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah.
It's not just about looking around and loveliness.
I don't know if this is good for the museum though. You're voting for a boat that has a story and but not like historical characteristics and importance.
Well, you should have made that clear before you asked me for a decision.
There are zero criteria.
You want to
rules.
you're welcome to make up rules, but you got to make them up before I make a
Before?
decision.
So you want to plug Lil Toot.
Yeah, because you know what I'm saying. It's like because it gets out there and gets people out. I'm into that. That's what that's what I'm into.
Okay.
I do, although because I'm going to this boat's going to be mine and it will no longer be a
The
contender.
Washingtonian Trumpy that you're gonna straight up
Yeah. Capture it.
what's it
I'm going to bring the Ferragine over with cannons and take it away.
invade the boat museum and pillage the Washingtonian, take possession of it. What's it called when you eminent domain? You're gonna eminent domain. You're gonna squat on it.
Isn't there like a thing if we're out at sea, like I can just somehow make it be mine? Can I marry it or something and pretend to be the captain?
You could sink it and salvage it.
Hey, there we go. That's probably not a good idea.
No, I don't think so. Okay,
All right.
Presley, you have agency of complete autonomy in this decision. Of the boats we've discussed, which
Yes.
would you like to pick as boat of the week? And
The ones
your
we've
reasoning can be
discussed.
entirely your own because it's clear that we have zero reasoning.
Yeah, you can pick whatever you want. Your favorite boat.
And just of the ones that were discussed, right?
Do you have another one that you'd like to propose?
Well, I would like to propose Roboki, which it's a smaller boat. It's not usually thought of, but it was like the one that was
Is the one with the picnic basket?
no, it's the one right there with like the green and the flag on the back. But it was the one that it's a cliff craft and it was restored by local high school students. So it has quite a cool story too because
I like it. I didn't see that one before.
Yeah. Or sorry, it's not a cliff craft, but it was built by another local boat builder, Grandy Holt, and so he built it for. He built 7 of those models, I believe, for like his wife and 6 of her friends, because women weren't seen on the water at that time. So he actually got them to go out by buying him those boats, or buying them those boats. So
Oh my God.
now they're
It's the
restored.
original Mama boats.
That's the original Mama boat. So we
Yeah.
have this thing in our like circle of like he always drives and she doesn't, and you get a boat for her, and sometimes it gets called a Mama boat.
Okay.
And it's also the original Take Back the Boat.
The original Take Back the Boat.
So Stephanie will teach people to drive a boat by just sitting in the back and like looking at her phone, and while they drive the boat.
Mostly ladies who already don't know how to drive the boat, and they will come and be like, "Will you teach me to drive the boat?" And I'll say, "Yes, give me a bottle of wine, and I will teach you how to drive the boat." And that's what we do.
So
Yeah.
Raboki is one of bro.
It's got to win. I totally agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Raboki is your boat of the week.
Yay!
Nice job, Presley. Yeah. And that, I can't even imagine. I don't have any applause because I forgot the SD card. That's where the applause is.
Hold on, we got it. We can do it. Ready?
Yep. That
We got it.
1,000,000% needed to win boat of the week.
Oh, thank God you showed
I'm
up
really
with
glad that you recognized your agency in this situation.
Yeah,
And you
when,
spoke
you're,
up.
when you're right, you're right.
When you're right, you're right.
It's a great story, and it's an adorable boat, and we got to go get a picture.
Wow. So we're going to wrap up and maybe go for a boat ride, but we don't want to keep anybody after their time. So Presley, thank you so much for hosting us. Suzanne,
This was so fun. Thank
so
you.
fun.
Thank you for letting me be on.
Oh no,
This was fun.
cool.
Yay.
I'm glad. Yeah, you were totally up for it, and you've been really wonderful and contributed extensively to this episode. And want to thank Suzanne.
Yeah, Suzanne and Bernie, you guys are doing an awesome job. This place is running like a tight ship, if you will.
Yeah.
Looks awesome. Happy to be here.
All right. Everybody, just cross the border and experience the Canadian side of it. And yeah, we're wrapping.
We are wrapping. Any other reminders? Anything coming up? Anything we want to plug? Are we good to go? Basically, we have a couple weeks left of summer. Everybody get out there, enjoy.
Do we want to announce a Boats and Floats event?
We do, but we don't know when it's going to be. So everybody keep an eye on Instagram. We're going to make something up. Garrison.
Yeah, this is playing after Garrison's show already happened.
Yep.
Yeah, we plugged it last week.
Yep. So we're too late
I think
for that.
that's about
okay.
it. Yeah,
We're good.
no plugs. Anything you want to plug? Do you have any events coming up here?
Or anything really good at the Playhouse that people should know about?
Really good at the Playhouse. Well, we do have a new show starting tonight, actually. It's called Mary's Wedding. And so I haven't seen it yet, but I'm seeing it tonight for the first time, and I'm pretty excited. So I can't give too much feedback right now, but there's also not Liars at a Funeral. Murder for Two. It's happening in our Fire Hall Theater. It's the funniest show I've ever seen at the Playhouse. It's great. It's great. It's really good.
Really?
Yeah.
So there are multiple theaters in the Playhouse?
Yeah. So we have our Fire Hall on top, which is like our it's our smaller theater, and
Yeah.
we have our main one, which is the Springer Theater.
So Dinner for Two, you said? Murder for Two.
Murder for Two.
Murder
Yeah.
Murder for Two.
for Two.
Funniest you've ever seen?
Funniest I've ever seen.
Maybe we should come back and see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Listeners, you can come or not, whatever, but we're going to come back and check that out. All right, Presley, thank you so much for being such a gracious host. And this has been awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do it again next year.
Yeah.
Maybe during the boat show over here.
Yes.
Yo ho ho, that's it for the Bodie Show. Pack the cooler, grab the lines, let's go, go, go. Yo ho ho ho.
That's it for the Bodie Show.
Any parting words, Presley?
I don't think so.
No?
Happy summer, everybody.
Happy summer. Yeah. Stay boaty.
Yeah, stay floaty.